I thought today I was really prepared, like, I'm not even in my silk dressing gown. I've just gone for a slightly cooler look. But now I've lost the script, so excuse me a minute. Natural disasters are some of the most powerful and most destructive forces on our entire planet. People used to think that these events were acts of God, from tsunamis caused by Neptune to giant lightning storms by Zeus. You get the picture. These events have always fascinated people, including myself, which is part of the reason we're making this video, and many other people too, and you can just tell by the popularity of shows like Storm Chasers. Even Hollywood gets in on the action, and you can tell something is popular when Hollywood makes movies about it. I think one of my favourites has to be 2012. I know it's not a great movie, but in terms of literal disaster porn, it's amazing, especially that scene when they fly the plane through LA as the whole thing's crumbling around you. Oh, God, I love that movie. For some reason unknown to myself, video games have always seemed to shy away from the disaster genre. Sure, there are a few games like Disaster Report and I Am Alive that focus on the aftermath of these events, but you'll be very hard pressed to find any game really that actually focuses on the events as they take place. This is actually part of the reason I wanted to make this video, because I've always wanted a game where you're just playing as a regular person trying to survive some kind of disaster, and it doesn't really matter what that is. It could be something like a 2012 level event, as in the movie, not the actual year because nothing happened. Or maybe even like a kaiju. A kaiju attack would be amazing. Imagine being just the dude on the ground trying to survive Godzilla. Pacific Rim is a great example where the monsters actually came after a specific person for a reason. Like, if you were that guy and the entire point of the game was surviving, it could even be like one of those open world survival games where you can build bases and shelters, and I just love that kind of game. I don't think anybody else would, because that's probably why it's not been made, but maybe I'm just alone in wanting that. While there may be a distinct lack of disaster survival games, that doesn't mean that the natural events themselves have been shunned from the gaming world. Weather has always been quite a big part of games. Many racing games use weather as a dynamic event to make races harder, or just to kind of set the atmosphere of the world. GTA is a fantastic example of that, where the weather can totally change the atmosphere of the game world. Some games are a little more ambitious with their in-game weather though. Assassin's Creed Origins is a recent example and features huge sandstorms in the desert, which, while looking incredible, make navigating the game's deserts a whole lot harder. And talking of sandstorms, another game featuring them is Mad Max. However, the sandstorms are dwarfed in comparison to that game's electrical storms, which are just awesome. Pushing out the boat even further, we have Motorstorm Apocalypse, which features no less than tsunamis, earthquakes, tornadoes, a volcano, I think. But the problem is, these are all very scripted events in the nature of it being a racing game. I'm after something a little more dynamic. As I'm sure you're aware of from E3, or even just the title of this video, Just Cause 4 features huge dynamic tornadoes that you can interact with in the game world. They're at the front and centre for all the game's marketing, and Avalanche Studios claim that the tornadoes are fully fledged physics simulations capable of manipulating hundreds of physics objects in the game. Now that all sounds very cool, and they are probably the most technically advanced tornadoes to ever appear in a video game. But don't be fooled in thinking that they are some of the only tornadoes featured, because tornadoes have been in games for pretty much as long as I can remember. Alongside rogue waves and giant storms, Assassin's Creed Black Flag also puts the player up against waterspouts, the tornado of the sea. A more obscure tornado comes in the form of the year 2000 game 18-wheeler American Pro Trucker. That's the one. I remember playing this game in the arcade, and my favourite part was always the tornado in stage 2. Do you know, whilst it didn't actually affect your truck itself, it would cause all the other vehicles in the road to go crazy basically, and most of the fun was just swerving between all the wreckage. It could also ruin your opponent's day, so it would make the race a whole lot harder as long as you were good enough to actually avoid the other cars. which was actually made a whole lot harder by the giant steering wheel they'd have in the arcade machines. It made it better, but it made it harder. It was a great game. Okay, so I'm actually going to admit why I've made this video now, and that was almost purely to talk about the 2003 game Roadkill. Many people may not have heard of that, but it's a game I absolutely love. So from what I seem to remember about the game, and this was years and years ago, it's a post-apocalyptic game where the entire point of playing is car combat. So think Mad Max, but just a whole lot older. Now, despite having played this game so long ago, one of the things that has always stuck with me were the tornado warnings in-game.
Paradise City has been issued a tornado warning. We strongly recommend that you find someone to hump.
I always used to get really excited whenever I'd hear that, because that meant we're about to have some tornado-based fun. I remember these tornadoes as almost looking more like the Just Cause 4 tornadoes, but that's kind of how things look when you look back. Looking at them now, they're not half as impressive, but they were just great fun to drive into. I can't remember if you just got reset when you did that. But I literally would just sit in my car at a distance, and they used to go across the airport quite a lot, and I literally just watch them go. I don't know why that fascinated me so much, but I do have like a real fascination with anything to do with disasters, from movies to TV shows, like especially documentaries. I love anything like that. So that's probably why I used to love this game so much. I don't even really remember if the actual gameplay was great, I just know it had tornadoes, and it was so much fun. So this December, when you load up Just Cause 4 and see that beautiful tornado ripping through the countryside, just remember that tornado is joining a long lineage of video game tornadoes. Roadkill is still the best. I'm hoping this video has gone way better than the first one. I mean, the first one didn't go too badly, it was just kind of bodged together slightly. I'm thinking the green screen looks a lot better today. I'm hoping so at least, and hopefully I'm in focus. I'm actually going to get my eyes tested at last. So maybe all my videos from now on will be in focus. I don't know. Roadkill was such a good game. It's one of those games I just keep coming back to. It was that and Destroy All Humans. I think Destroy All Humans 2 was my favourite. They were just so much fun, and they're on the PlayStation 2. And PlayStation 2, it's probably got some of my favourite games of all time. Even after the fact, I believe there was a future Destroy All Humans game released. There was Path of the Furon, which was on Xbox 360. That wasn't as good. And there was also a Wii one, which was Big Willy Unleashed. That was also not as good. Like, they never lived up to the PlayStation 2 era of games. That was just such an incredible console. I wonder if, like, people that probably like the people watching this who are older, no, younger than me rather, who would have been raised with the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3, maybe they think that about those consoles. Maybe it's like a James Bond thing where whoever you were raised on, that's your Bond, and whichever console you were raised on, that's your console. I don't know. Anyway, see you later, guys.
His name is Luke and he's more than your average gamer. No ordinary let's player. Know about Easter eggs much better. Da 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 da. His name is Luke, aka the Royal Gorilla. Even bigger than the giant Godzilla. Follow him in every game he goes. Da da.